Evolution complete.
Okay, this is Group B, ZerO versus Hyuk. A little bit of ZVZ for you. And ZerO has just been impressing so much recently. Oh man, I believe he's on, I didn't do full research on this because I'm not that professional, but I believe he's on something like a 10 or 11 game win streak, maybe even more than that at this point because I can't remember the last game he lost. But in true ZerO form, they haven't really been games that are that high pressure, because classically ZerO performs better in low pressure situations. So he's gotten most of his wins in the STX Masters Cup recently, which is kind of like, who cares? It's after Pro League. No one really cares. But still, he's been rocking it against all of his opponents in the STX Masters Cup. I'd like to discuss one particular game here in a moment, but yep, ZerO is on fire. Hyuk going to have to keep his wits about him to take down ZerO, because even his ZVZ recently has been so awesome. Except up at the 2 o'clock position in red is a red Zerg player scouting in the right direction. That is ZerO. So ZerO is up there at the 2 o'clock in red. Both players are scouting in the right direction, actually, and Hyuk down in purple. But yeah, the one particular matchup I wanted to talk about was I watched a couple of ZerO's latest games in the STX Masters Cup, and the one that impressed me the most was probably his game against Snow on Matchpoint. Just because, man, that was one of the best games played by a Zerg that I've ever seen against a Protoss. Because Snow played almost immaculately. His play was almost perfect. He played excellent, but still ZerO was able to take him down. And I can't think of any other Zerg player who would have won in ZerO's position against Snow. Not even Jaedong. So it was just absolutely inspiring game from ZerO. Just his micro, his decision-making, it was all just spot on. And, yeah, I just wish he could bring that to high-stakes situations, too, and not just stuff like the STX Masters Cup. I'd love to see ZerO get into the round of 8, maybe even the semifinals. Put his nervousness behind him. Of course, they're doing the close-up on him. He's not wearing his purple glasses. I'm so disappointed. That sign says, "I love purple glasses, ZerO, you broke my heart." But I guess Hyuk is in purple, so that wouldn't go over too well. But Hyuk is put down as overpool. I think both players put down overpool. Maybe it was a 12 pool. I think we did see a 12 pool from both, since the 12th drone's just now popping out. But yeah, just absolutely inspiring game against Snow. I would recommend going to watch that somewhere, wherever it is. Probably on John 747 somewhere. But yeah, watch that. Now my jaw just hit the floor. I was like, that is amazing play from a very good Zerg player. But alright, let's get some... How about one prediction? Since this is a ZVZ, it's going to be rather short. Both players are going for mirrored builds as well, so one lost Zergling is probably going to decide the game. But alright, here's one from Supercake07 writes, "Go Hyuk!" 10 exclamation points, and the reason I know that is because after that he wrote, "Okay, that was 10 exclamation points." Well done. And I should give my Who Screwed, Who's Not So Screwed quickly before the first Zergling battle. If ZerO wins, Hyuk is out of this OSL. ZerO will be in a good position to move out, but there's still a possibility of an upper rung tiebreaker with high-end Flash if Haya beats Flash in the 6th day, which isn't likely, but still it could happen. So those are the stakes as far as that goes. And if Hyuk wins, there is a possibility of a lower rung tiebreaker because he would be both 1-2 with ZerO. And if Flash wins, he will go 3-0 and put the rest of the guys in a tiebreaker situation. So a lot of potential tiebreakers in the OSL so far. I hope we don't see 15 games again, but I can always just put Benny Hill music to that, so whatever. There comes Hyuk. He has 4 Zerglings coming in with his reinforcements at the same time, pumping nothing but Zerglings at the moment as his lair is popping up. And ZerO bringing 1 drone in, possibly going to put down a sunken colony, but I think that's just a little bit of extra protection for himself as he's pumping his own reinforcements. But alright, ZerO has his second base up. He is putting down the sunken colony because he knows what kind of a player that Hyuk is. So Hyuk, once he sees the sunken, he should probably back off of Zerglings for a little while because he's not going to be able to break with ZerO's micromanagement here. He does have more Zerglings than ZerO, but ZerO does have that sunken colony coming up soon. Hyuk doing his best to break through, but here come the reinforcements, and Hyuk going to have to back off a bit. He loses 1 too many Zerglings, I think, in that attack, and he's waiting for his reinforcements. The reinforcements have arrived for Hyuk. Is he going to go for the break? No, it doesn't look like he is. He's running down the map at the moment, not thinking he has enough to take the sunken colony and these Zerglings from ZerO. But ZerO looks like he's going to take this opportunity to pump a bunch of Zerglings of his own, try to break through Hyuk's front, because it's not likely that Hyuk is going to have his own sunken colony down there, because he doesn't feel the pressure just yet. No, his second base just came up, no sunken colony for him. So ZerO going to try to take advantage of that if he can push Hyuk back a bit. But he sees the amount of Zerglings that are in. He was counting Zerglings there. Just did a bit of an attack to see how many Zerglings that Hyuk has. But he's not going to be able to break. He probably has a couple fewer Zerglings than Hyuk anyway, so trying to break through would pretty much be suicide for him. So he's going to work on his economy, get up his economy a little bit, put down his second extractor soon, I'm sure, so he can keep some production of the mutas. And I'd say the Spire is going to pop up basically at the same time for both players, so this is going to be a very mirrored build, and we'll see who has the presence of mind to run in with Zerglings, not only Zerglings but Mutalisk at the same time, take down everything there. Hyuk has a massive amount of Zerglings coming up the map, but he did not commit to them because he wants to wait until he has his Mutalisk in the field to help out those Zerglings. We're going to see a pretty big engagement soon from both players. They're both pumping nothing but mutas. Maybe a couple of Scourge in from either player. But Hyuk is on his way up, and ZerO just has a couple of Zerglings there to go in and snipe some drones. That's going to leave him a couple of Zerglings behind. Hyuk going for the sunken colony now. I still don't think he's going to be able to break, even though he has a huge amount of Zerglings. No, just not getting a very good arc there, as ZerO picking off some drones at the front. Hyuk is going to try to run into the main, I think, with a couple of Zerglings of his own, but he didn't make it. Didn't make it past the mutas. He's still trying to sneak in, but it looks like it's not going to get anything done. There are a couple of Scourge that did land on ZerO's mutas, and I think that Hyuk only lost 1 drone. I think it was just 1 drone kill there before Hyuk was able to clean up those just 2 Zerglings in there. So Hyuk trying to get lucky and land some Scourge. Almost got lucky there. He's very close to landing with a couple of Scourge that just came up. But a little bit unlucky. ZerO now knows what Hyuk's game plan is, so he's going to be much, much more careful with his Mutalisk micro, looking all over the place for the Scourge, wherever they might be. But here comes ZerO, just running head first into Scourge, but he does feel that he has enough Mutalisk out in the field to take down Hyuk, and he's probably right. Yeah, he does have more mutas here, even though he lost a muta to Scourge. He does have a couple Scourge of his own coming down. It looks like Hyuk is running out of defenses already. He doesn't have any Mutalisk left, as ZerO just completely destroying Hyuk. Oh, Hyuk got Scourge. That's it. GG, and Hyuk is out of this OSL. But now ZerO has put himself in a great position to move into the round of 8, as long as Flash wins against Haya. If Haya wins against Flash, though, we're going to see an upper rung tiebreaker for both spots, which would still be an awesome tiebreaker, so I'm not sure which I want more. Well, this has been Nuke. I'm going to move on to Group C now.